Guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw, my first official movie of 2025. This time I'm going to be talking about Wolfman. Now this is a new reimagining from Leigh Whannell. The same way he made The Invisible Man, he's doing the same thing for Wolfman as we follow a father who is dedicated to taking very good care of his daughter. After he had a past with his father who is very aggressive, he refuses to be like that. So when he goes to visit his father with his family, things change when a mysterious creature goes out hunting them down. And eventually, the father gets the same thing that, the Wolfman has, because it's pretty obvious who the Wolfman that they encounter is. So yeah, this film is directed by Leigh Whannell, who I feel like is pretty damn good when it comes to, horror in writing and directing. He was one of the writers of Saw, who also starred in Saw. Then he went on to direct movies himself, like Insidious Chapter 3, Upgrade, and The Invisible Man, all of which I really enjoy, especially Invisible Man. That movie was so good. I saw it in theaters twice, and when I got the 4K Blu-ray so early, I watched it again. I've watched it multiple times and feel like it just gets more interesting the more I watch it. So when I heard he was going to be doing something very similar with Wolfman, I was all on board because I feel like The Invisible Man was very creative in not really being a remake, but a reimagining that felt very original and very fresh. So I was really excited to see what he would do with Wolfman. I may have gotten my hopes up a little bit too high because I was expecting to be blown away like I was with Invisible Man. And I did not care that this movie was coming out in January because I knew with a name like Leigh Whannell, I could trust him. And besides, horror movies there are some horror movies out there that have showed us that just because they're released in January doesn't mean they're always going to be some suckfest. And with Wolfman, I can definitely say the biggest respect I could say is that there are some really cool ideas with this movie. The fact that, our main character played by Chris Abbott, he is trying his best to be a good father because there is an opening scene where, he didn't really have a great relationship with his father because his father was always very aggressive. And there are times where, he fears that he's going to be like that, but he doesn't want to be like that. So I could really connect with that because, that shows the sign that he's caring for his family, and later on things change. But let me just say, when it comes to the transformation, because we all expected there to be a transformation sequence, it kind of feels a little bit too similar to Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, which kind of makes this more of a body horror film rather than a creature feature, which might disappoint some. I liked what they were going for, the fact that, he was slowly transforming into a werewolf and not automatically, but, I didn't really expect anything super big when it came to the transformation sequence. I'm just happy it doesn't look atrocious or horrendous with, heavy amounts of CGI, as it relies really well on makeup effects, which I thought were really well done. So it goes to show that it can still work for horror, and it was very effective too. Not in the same way as An American Werewolf in London did with the iconic werewolf transformation scene in that film, and I don't think there'll ever be another transformation scene as good as, that, because that pretty much won the movie an Oscar. So yeah, I didn't really expect a whole lot of creature action because I knew that it was probably going to be a slow-moving film, though I feel like when it comes to the slow parts, they drag on way too long, because the first 10 minutes I thought dragged on way too long. Like, we don't really get into what we're expecting until much later on, like 30 minutes into the movie, and there's definitely a difference between boring and slow burn. Unfortunately, it was a little bit more boring. I wouldn't really say anything was building up to it. Like, the build-up doesn't really happen until when they get to the area where his father is. So, yeah, and we pretty much know that all hell is going to break loose later on. But when it comes to the idea of how the Wolfman is evolving, I feel like there is an opportunity that could have made it more effective. Because he's trying to be a really good father, he doesn't want to get his anger get the best of him. I feel like it would have been an opportunity where, there's something that, he thinks about that gets him more mad, that's, could have made it more effective. And if he goes way too overboard, he could have transformed into the wolf. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a missed opportunity, in my opinion. But despite the fact that I have said some pretty negative things about it, I didn't hate the movie. I don't think it's a bad film. I just feel like there are some ideas in here that could have worked, but by the end of it, it just felt like, there were some things that definitely felt like a good idea, but just kind of felt a little bit underwhelming in the end. And hey, the performances, everybody's good. There isn't a whole lot of actors, in the movie. So, and in terms of the dialogue, there really isn't a whole lot, especially when it gets to the later act of the movie. But yeah, all in all, Wolfman might not reach the same heights as The Invisible Man, but I respect Leigh Whannell for trying to create something different, just like he did with that film. And the fact that he's making these he's taking these monsters and just reimagining them and trying to make us connect with it a little bit more. So I can see what Leigh Whannell was trying to do here, but I don't know. I just feel like there were some times where there were just moments that could have been handled so much better. And but hey, it's not a super long movie, even though it does drag on a little bit, especially during the first act. I can't really say I had a bad time watching this, because when it comes to the actual werewolf stuff, it can be quite intense and disturbing. But yeah, if you're expecting like a major creature feature, don't expect anything like that. Expect more of a body horror film, because I feel like that's basically what Leigh Whannell was trying to do more of, rather than a creature feature. But hey, I'm glad that it's not like a flat out creature feature, because then it would just feel ridiculous. But despite the fact that it does get very serious, I like what he tried here. So yeah, I'm just gonna repeat myself when I say it doesn't reach the same heights as The Invisible Man, but you get the point. I enjoyed myself fine, but man, I was hoping for another masterpiece with this one. Certainly not a bad watch. I recommend checking it out. I didn't expect like the next best werewolf movie, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. There were just things to the movie that I felt like could have worked better. But hey, I liked it fine. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.